I look after Molly today, and Molly looks after me tomorrow.
Nobody touches Mrs. Lopsided.
Hell's heart taste apathy! For hate's sake! I spit my last breath at thee!
No! Mind your own business when you get out of here!
That's a hot one, isn't it? Where did Gordon think I lived? In my legs?
Hey, guess what, folks? It's the end of season 2. Yeah, we've actually made it 2 whole seasons. We have over 100 episodes, and man, do I feel educated, don't you, Ryan? I feel educated on film.
I think so. I mean...
That's basically what we're going to do today is we're having a party. First of all, I got my drink lined up here. A little bit of vodka and some cherry juice in case anyone wants to follow along. But we're going to have some fun. We're going to recap what we learned. What did we learn in season 2? You know, what was most surprised us about, like, what did we see that most surprised us? Did we get introduced to something we didn't expect to see? You know, and so we're going to, and what are the lowest points basically too? So Ryan and I are going to try and figure out, like, where do we place these things? How do we, especially with Kurosawa, man. But I guess a good place to start is let's just pick overall for season 2. Where do we start here? Because we've got a list of our films here, and I'm looking at like the ones that got like the highest score in season 2. If let me pull that up here, the ones that kind of got the best average score, which means we both gave it 5 out of 5. We have A Streetcar Named Desire, Judgment at Nuremberg, Plan 9 from Outer Space. It's got to go in its own category. Seven Samurai, The Apartment, The Fugitive Kind, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and The Lady Killers. That's got unanimous, like, top tier. So we should probably start with that. So of that list, Ryan, what strikes you out of that list?
Out of that list, Judgment at Nuremberg.
You think so? And certainly for timeliness, I have to say that one's got to be top of the list. Man, I mean...
Yeah, and that's like, one of the things that we've talked about, folks, on this podcast, we do, like, our putting this together, and by our putting this together, it is oftentimes, like, Justin does, like, 99% of the production, but, like, when we talk about, like, the movies that we're going to watch and stuff like that, we're not trying to be topical. We didn't pick the Judgment at Nuremberg because of things going on outside of, outside in the world. It just kind of happened to coincide and everything, but it was just kind of perfectly there.
Yeah.
We did a string of, like, what feels like very long movies. Judgment at Nuremberg is one of those very long movies. And here's the thing with those very long movies. Yes, they can be a hassle to watch because you are sitting there for 3 hours. And if you're watching Tubi, you're sitting there for 3 hours plus some change because of,
ads.
Because of ads and whatnot. But that was just one of those movies where you're sitting there and you're just like, just wow,
Yeah. I remember you saying something.
The acting was great.
Yeah, it was great across the board. There was something you said about that movie, and I think it was before we even recorded the episode. You had mentioned it. It's like once you started it, you just couldn't stop it. You were looking for maybe a break, but you couldn't stop it.
Yeah.
And I wasn't expecting that.
You're chewing up the dialogue. Like, the dialogue in that movie was just fantastic. The story and how they told the story, everything surrounding the story was fantastic. And that's not because, he said the first, like, that is the movie that stands out in my opinion.
I would say that
have been watching.
Yeah, it's the one that surprised me the most. If I know enough about Kurosawa now that if I see a 3-hour Kurosawa film, it's like I'm still down for that because I trust the experience of the director at that point. I've seen his shorter stuff, but I know he can handle it. It's like, and I won't be bored by it. But I don't know as much about, the only other film I think we saw by the director, was It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. It's Stanley Kramer, the guy who directed that, is the one who did, which talk about a shift, But he handled it. I guess I should have understood. I just haven't seen enough of his films. But based on that, he could direct a 3-hour comedy. You think of a comedy as being. We talked about this. It's like comedies tend to be short for a reason, and he did a 3-hour comedy a slapstick comedy in many ways. And it's like, and I wasn't bored by it. But sure enough, if he takes on a drama, yeah, I should have figured it out. But I wasn't going into it expecting like, oh man, I won't want to take a break during this. There's like every bit of dialogue. And the other thing you said was that the cinematography, yes, it's great, it's good, but it supports the not wanting to let go of it because courtroom scenes can be dry, right? You know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Courtroom scenes, they're one location. It's a bunch of people talking most of the time. And unless the dialogue is like really snappy, and it was really good dialogue too. But on top of that, they had the cameras and the cinematography supporting the audience throughout all of that. And that's really, I noticed that during the film, and I was like, I am being held and captivated, not just by the dialogue, but by everything about the direction. So it hits it on every level, you know, and Kurosawa does too. I'm not going to give any shade to Kurosawa, but we're trying to parse between like fine hairs of excellence here,
Yeah.
you know, and I think that you're right that, you know, at the top of the list has to be, and especially right now, it's like we didn't pick it for its topicalness, but you couldn't get any more topical than this film right now.
Yeah. I also gotta point out, you talk about it's a mad, 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 mad world.
Yeah, Spencer Tracy is like apparently had a really good working relationship with I guess Stanley
Kramer.
Stanley Kramer, yeah. Yeah, Spencer Tracy had a really good working relationship with Stanley Kramer apparently. And it shows. I mean, it's like, you know, he gets a really good performance. And one of the things I noticed about Judgment at Nuremberg too, at least in the historical aspect of it, is that there was not like a record. I don't know if it's a record, but like the length of one shot of just an actor talking, in other words, without a cut, without an edit, is like, you know, there's a scene toward the end where Spencer Tracy is judge character. He's just kind of like going on, and it goes on, and it's all good stuff. And he's like, it takes one super long take. And it's like, that's really skilled right there. That's another thing I like about it too. For a movie that actually relished in that kind of thing, it pushed it to the limit. And so yeah, that's really awesome. I just want to get that out there. So yeah, so let's assume that that's our top of the list right now. For number 2 slot, let's see, where do we put number 2? We have The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, The Fugitive Kind, Lady Killers, The Apartment, Plan 9 from Outer Space, Streetcar Named Desire.
I mean, for me, I gotta go. I think I have to go The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly here.
Okay, so it's a Western. So let's see. If I was to try and just pick like my next most favorite, you know, that's really hard because Seven Samurai is kind of a Western too, in its own way.
Yeah.
And oh man, the theming in Seven Samurai is just so awesome. But The Good, the Bad, the Ugly has its own kind of themes going on too. It feels, this is what makes it so fun. You know, it's like, how do you pick between these two?
It is like one of the first movies out there that tells the story with music. And I don't know if that makes sense. Like,
no,
this music is almost like the music in that part is almost telling us the actual story because it foregoes dialogue for different parts. And it's got to be, you know, it's 9 minutes. I think it's quite literally 9 minutes. It's 9 minutes of these characters staring at each other, this music playing, nothing else happening, but you feel every single waking moment.
Yeah.
I love that. However, if I was going to switch Seven Samurai and like if I was going to say, for me, Seven Samurai is number 2, it might not be because of the movie. It might be because you don't get the good and the bad and the ugly without Akira Kurosawa.
This is true. Yeah. Kurosawa did something like with, because Kurosawa is kind of like laying the groundwork for Sergio Leone in many ways.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know how much more after, like, we've talked about it before, about how the Fistful of Dollars is basically a copy of Yojimbo. It's the Italian Western version of Yojimbo. To the point where Kurosawa noted about it, is they actually sued successfully for getting royalty rights and money for Fistful of Dollars. That's crazy, but that's the kind of influence he had. I would pick the Kurosawa film just on the edge of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, but man, is it close, And they're both real, and that's the other thing. They're both long movies too. I mean, it's one's longer than the other, but it's by I forget how long is The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I forget, but it's a length.
It's 2 hours and 58 minutes.
Yeah, so it's close enough. It's rounded to 3 hours. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's another one of those long movies. But man, do they so but yeah, I think I would pick Seven Samurai as my second just because
And see,
yeah.
I probably not probably. I'm gonna put like it for me. It's my third because like the good, the bad, the ugly is my second.
Yeah. I can't quibble with you, man. It's like we're splitting hairs here. So what's left? We got Lady Killers, The Apartment, Plan 9 from Outer Space, and A Streetcar Named Desire. For me, I think, oh man, I'm probably gonna go with The Lady Killers. It's hard to get like a perfect comedy. And for me, The Lady Killers just punches every button. Just the character work by Alec Guinness, who's channeling the other guy who we saw in Scrooge, but Alistair Sim. That's right, Alistair Sim. He's channeling Alistair Sim. He's doing a better Alistair Sim in some ways than Alistair Sim. But that just goes to the brilliance of Alec Guinness. So, oh man. But that's my rationale. Perfect comedies are hard to find, and that's my rationale. I'm going to put this at my number 3, I think.
Well, my number 3 is going to be the Seven Samurai. Going to number 4 for me, it is A Streetcar Named Desire. I just thought that was just so brilliantly acted. It is a play. Well, it's based off a play, and it does that very play set. Also, too, I can't Stella. Like it's just perfect.
Well, I used it in the opening,
It's
right?
so perfect.
It's so classic.
Yeah.
So yeah, for my number 4, let's see. I'm gonna have to go with Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I think, yeah, because it's so high up there still. Like I said, it was a competition trying to figure out, and it's really only because I only put it lower than like Seven Samurai because it's got the originality factor going for it, and Good, the Bad, the Ugly still feels like it's deriving something from Kurosawa a little bit, even if it's just in style. Number 5. It's gonna be probably between The Apartment and Streetcar Named Desire, I think. But I think I'm gonna go with The Apartment, and this is a temperament thing, because for me, The Streetcar Named Desire takes more of a cynical view in the end a little bit. It's still valid. It's making a point with its cynicism. It's not invalid. But I will say for my own personal taste, The Apartment has a more hopeful view of things at the end. And that's a personal taste thing. So, but what about you, man?
Yeah, actually, I'm going to agree with you there. It is one of those mixtures of drama and comedy. Did its best to try to keep the brevity of it, try to keep that lightheartedness to it
Yeah.
as much as it could. I just love that movie, and I feel like we're probably about to both agree on number 6.
I think I would go with Fugitive Kind for number 6 because Fugitive Kind is a darker film, like Streetcar Named Desire too. And Streetcar Named Desire and Fugitive Kind kind of almost have to be lumped together a bit because it's like, first of all, they have the
Yeah.
same writer. It's what's his name, Tennessee Williams is writing
Mhm.
both of them, and you can surely tell Tennessee Williams has a very
Yeah.
distinctive style about him. About his writing, and boy, it's like it's a toss up for me about which one. I can almost put them in the same category. Although I will say that The Fugitive Kind right now is more novel to me. I mean, and that's not really much of a criteria, but Streetcar Named Desire gets all the attention when it comes to like history of film. But Fugitive Kind, man, it's hard to say. Oh man, it's such a toss up. I'm tugged in both directions. This is a hard one. So number 6, maybe. Yeah, I'll go with Fugitive Kind. Some of the things about that movie, I'm trying to remember more about the movie now that we're talking about it. Can you tell me, what more do you remember about it that you liked?
The Fugitive Kind.
Yeah,
Well,
go
one of
ahead.
the things is it's like it's a tragedy. Unfortunately, it is a tragic movie. Wasn't it? I feel like it was based off of something. I'm gonna double check. I could be wrong when I say that, but I know it was like I think it was his own play as well. Orpheus descending, and if you don't know who Orpheus is, a guy who descends into hell to save his beloved, and then it's not really hell but Hades to save his
Yeah,
beloved. It doesn't end well. It actually does a really good job of actually explaining racism without having really any black characters in there. And I'm not saying it's just black people that experience racism, but this is Louisiana
yeah.
in the 50s. So
I just really love that, it's like it shows kind of crystal clarity in a way that when two characters in a broken world, and they are broken characters themselves, how two broken characters are trying that even the choice of people who, when they, in a broken world, when they try to both choose something better that's good in and to itself, that the rest of the world will end up destroying them for it. And that's it, and yes, it's a tragedy, but that's why I put it a little bit lower than than some of the other movies on our list here so far. But yeah, we were number 6. Is that number 6? Yeah, I think it's number 6.
Yep, that was number 6.
So for me, I guess that makes Streetcar Named Desire meets number 7. That's going to be the one because it was in competition with that directly. But yeah, that's my number 7, which means my number 8 is also going to be. Presumably, I'm going to assume it's the same thing for you. Plan 9 from Outer Space.
On what one? Number 8.
Number 8, yeah.
Now, what was your number 7?
Streetcar Named Desire.
No, well, my number 7 would have been actually The Lady Killers.
Oh, that's okay. All right, that's right, because you haven't done that one yet. That's right.
But you are absolutely correct. My number 8 will 100% be Plan 9 from Outer Space.
It's a great for what it is, but it certainly can't. I mean, look, it's Nuke the Fridge, and any Nuke the Fridge film automatically comes below. It's just in its own class, but the class itself is below the other classes. It's a fun thing. That's it is. We've talked enough about Streetcar Named Desire and the Lady Killers. I think it deserves its due.
I think probably what it comes down to is just it being more of the comedy side of all of this. And again, it's not that I don't like comedies. I want to make that very clear. I love comedies. It's just like the topics that these other movies were covering. Just they not resonated with me more, but maybe they do resonate with me just a little bit more for a variety of reasons. The more the historical aspects of them, I do remember. And that's one of those things too that I will say is like this is a top 8 list. Like none of these movies are bad, and like bad movies. Some of the things I loved about the Lady Killers were freaking Alex Guinness just played the creepiest dude.
Dude, one of my favorite Alec Guinness performances of all time, and that's including Star Wars, dude.
Yeah, and then also on top of that, you've just got the ridiculousness of the deaths at the end of the movie. And then too, the little old lady. The little lady just kind of sold it for me. Like she's just like this innocent little old lady. She doesn't really wise up to what's really happening until the very end. Mm-hmm. And then when she wises up to it, she's just trying to be prim and proper about it. Like, no, you're not going to be bad boys. And it's like they all kind of listen, but the problem is they just can't get out of their own way. At the end of it, you almost wish that like they would have had a change of heart.
Yeah.
But I think probably just because like. These other movies, they have historical elements to them that I really love. Big philosophical things about them that I really love. So like and then like again, just it hits the niche things that I really like. Those movies hit at that. Whereas this movie did not. But again, this movie does really well with what it is for someone like me. And so like, it's definitely
What are the worst 5 films? And I'm going to go 5. Oh, there's 3 zeros. It had us unanimous at 0 or unanimous at 1. So from that range. So if that's what we're talking about here.
I was wondering, like, let's play just let's play a little game real quick.
Sure. What you got?
I don't know if this is going to happen this way. On the count of 3, we're going to say what we think our number 5 movie is, like the top of our list of bad movies. Of the movies that we didn't like.
You're talking like the best of the bad or the worst of the bad?
The worst of the worst.
Okay. Let me think about that for a minute. Do you know the ones I'm talking have you listened in front of you? Do you know the ones I'm talking about? Do you want to hear it?
No, but I know which one I'm going to say right off the bat. Like that's what I think. That I just want to I want us to say what the movie that we both did not like the most was on the count of 3. Just for fun's sake. And then we 3, 2. Okay, you want to count it down or me?
Yeah, I'll count it down. 3, 2, 1. Taming of the Shrew.
The Taming of the Shrew. I knew it!
Yeah. I knew it. It was close, though. It was closer than I would have thought. I had to debate it, really. It's like, it was between that and, there's 3 that could take my worst, and that would be Viva Max, Cactus Flower, and Taming of the Shrew.
Oh, God. I despise Viva Max. I despise that movie.
Do you want to change your vote?
No. Like, I despise that movie so much. Like, I can give I can give some credit to this one, but the reason why I don't like The Taming of the Shrew more is because it's going to sound weird. Because, like, that's a movie that I'm going to think about. Like, it's weird to say this, but this is the movie that I'm going to think about. Viva Max is a movie that I'm just not going to think about ever again.
We talked about how forgettable it was.
And there's some there was ridiculous elements to it that can make you chuckle. The problem with The Taming of the Shrew was, like, it's just so out of what feels like very Shakespearean, and there's better movies that cover that same subject better.
Yeah.
Specifically, 10 Things I Hate About You.
Yeah.
But it's like, and it's like while Viva Max has got like its own problems because it's dumb, like you watch this movie and you're like, oh gosh, I feel the need to become like a raging feminist after I watch this movie. But I'm saying, like, you watching this, you're like, this is abuse. Like, this is 100% abuse.
He's like,
I am watching cinematic abuse right now.
No, there's no suspense there, folks. We got it out of the way right out of the gate. So that means there's like 4 more left here. But do you want to hear the rest of the 4 that are in that category? According to our statistics, they say. So here we go. It's Keeper of the Flame, Viva Max, Count Dracula, and Cactus Flower. Now, each of those is awful for their own reasons. I will say that at my number 5, it's going to be Keeper of the Flame. I think that's for me just the what it was aiming for. It was inept drama, and at least it had some kind of a good point to it. It tried to go for a point, and it failed miserably.
Yeah,
it's one of those things. It's a failure Go ahead.
I'm gonna agree with you on that one, and you're right. It did. That's exactly the problem with that movie. Is like it had an idea of what it wanted to be, and we just kind of felt like I remember us both feeling like it didn't do what it was trying to accomplish.
It could have been a great point. It could have made a great point about the situation at the time. It could have made a great point about human psychology.
Yeah,
but
I felt like too. I might have said that it's got like the acting's fine. Like the acting was okay to me, but it's just the story was just kind of like meh. At the end of it, it's a very predictable movie. It feels like too.
It's rather predictable in a sense too. And the remaining ones here, these are going to be a little more harder. I'm going to go ahead and say, believe it or not, I'm going to go Count Dracula on this. Because as bad as it was a terrible translation of the material. It's just awful. It was dull. It was like watching paint dry. It was like eating wallpaper paste. Like in every way that Count Dracula should never be. It was dull and boring.
Yeah.
It just sucked the life. We talked about this. It sucked the life out of whatever story there was in the original material. But at the same time, it wasn't morally offensive in a way. And that's something that's a distinction that still bears above the other 2 remaining ones on our list here. So,
yeah. I'm gonna agree with you there. How do you waste Christopher Lee like that? That's one of the biggest offenses of that movie is that it wastes him. And now, we haven't really particularly watched 2 great Christopher Lee movies so far. There are others out there, so who knows, it might pick up. But I mean, it's just like, he's such a phenomenal actor. And it's like, dude, like, how are you this, like, no. Like, I think he was the best part of that movie. But it was just, just no. It was such a boring movie.
If that was the greatest sin there was, it would be bottom of the list. But there's still 2 more, and there are other factors that create more of a problem. And this is where it gets difficult because we have Cactus Flower and Viva Max. And for my number 2 worst... Oh, go ahead. You got yours?
So, I'll give Cactus Flower its due just because it's got Ingrid Bergman in it.
I knew you were going to say that!
I won't let it be the number 2 movie that I hate or that I didn't like because like she saves it. Although again, that's another movie where you're just kind of like afterwards you're going, I probably need to go to like my nearest priest and like confess that I've sinned against women.
And you're not even like Catholic.
Yeah, I'm not even Catholic. It's just like this movie treats women so poorly. It probably deserves to be number 2, but it's still like there's still some kind of funny moments to it as well. And also, again, like even older Ingrid Bergman is just phenomenal.
If the first half of the movie had paid off in the second half, like I hoped it would, I was ready to give this a really high review. I remember during our review, I actually counted down to the minute during the film when it flipped. and it went into hatred mode. And it's so rare to have that happen. Usually when a film's bad, it's like you can feel it from the first few minutes. But this one took it halfway through and made you think it was going one direction, goes in a completely opposite, horrible direction. And it's like, and it ends up with a terrible moral at the end. So yeah, weighing it against Viva Max, it's like, what's the greater sin here? Is it giving you hope and then pulling the rug out from you? Or is it just a movie like Viva Max where it's like, this is a racist kind of like, it's a racist Texan kind of, outlook on, on international relations between U.S. and Mexico. Which one do you go with? And I'm like, oh my goodness, it's like torture me, if you will. I'm going to have to say Cactus Flower if you're just giving me hope. I like Ingrid Bergman in it too. I like what she was doing in it, but I'm going to go that for my, that's my number 3, I guess. We were saying number 2. It's actually number 3, I think, because Taming of the Shrew is both our number 1. So we're number 3. Yeah, this is our number 3, folks. So scratch that, fill that in. Number 3 for me is Cactus Flower. It gave me hope and then pulled the rug out for me, which is like a punch in the gut.
Also wild that it has such a phenomenal cast.
It did. Walter Matthau and Ingrid Bergman.
Yeah,
it's like
Ingrid Bergman, the first Goldie Hawn movie.
Yeah, the very first debut of Goldie Hawn there. It's like I was very hopeful in the beginning. I was like, wow, this is the movie that got her started. Okay, fine, let's take a look. It's like and then it did all the other stuff. So I guess that means for you, your number 3 is Viva Max. Anything else you want to add to that, or is it just like it is what it is?
I still do chalk some of this up to potentially like, the quality of the film as it has survived today. I thought it was poor quality. It was just it was a bore to me. Like, it was trying to be slapstick comedy. I didn't feel like it was particularly good slapstick comedy. I was almost angry watching that film. Like, at the end of it, I was like, I am so done with this film. I didn't even want to finish it, to be quite honest with you. But again, like, it didn't make me in the film going, I feel like I've done something.
Yeah.
But still, it's just one of those movies. It's just one of those movies that I'm just going to keep forgetting. Like,
yeah.
If, by season 4, if you bring up Viva Max and no one's talked about it since season 2,
yeah,
I might be like, what movie are you talking about?
I think I got because I've been drinking, but I think I got my ratings a bit backwards here. I have to apologize. I think because I wanted to put Cactus Flower below Viva Max. I think that's where you're at too.
No, Cactus Flower for me is Cactus Flower is above Viva Max.
Is it above Viva? Okay, it's okay. That's right. So I'm putting
the one
that's right.
The one we hate the most is Taming of the Shrew.
Then for me it becomes Cactus Flower, then Viva Max.
Okay, for me it becomes Viva Max and then Cactus Flower.
Right. And Viva Max is like I think the only reason why I would put it higher, another reason why I would put it higher than Cactus Flower, and more like better, if you want to call it that. It never presents itself as giving you like a message. It's spectacular, awful, racist nonsense. And man, I'm Peter Ustinov. Man, what a great actor to waste. Peter Ustinov.
I mean, that's an issue. It's like sometimes, like Christopher Lee. It's like, waste Christopher Lee. You waste Ingrid Bergman. It's like, in these movies wonder why they are at the bottom of our list. That's why you're wasting the talent.
Okay, so what about like biggest surprises? Let's talk about like what movie surprised you the most? Was there a movie that surprised you like a lot in this season? You can go through. Yeah, you can take a moment if you want. There's plenty of movies to pick from.
I'm trying to figure out if I want to say surprise me the most being good or surprise me the most being
We could do one
bad.
for each. The biggest best surprise and the biggest worst surprise.
I know I feel like I'm, kind of speaking the same things. I would say the best surprise might have honestly been The Judgment at Nuremberg.
Okay, that's a fair point.
And I wasn't going into that thinking it was going to be a bad movie per se, but I didn't know how deep they might dive into that. Some of those older films, I don't want to sound like they're not trying to be, but sometimes what they'll do is they'll be, oh gosh, it feels wrong saying this because I don't think this is what they're trying to do, but they can come across as like, hey, I can be sympathetic towards you even though like you were a raging Nazi. We haven't watched this movie yet. I feel like eventually we'll cover it. I don't think we've watched this movie yet anyways. Have we watched Casablanca? Have we watched Casablanca yet?
No, we haven't. No, we haven't.
One of the things that Casablanca does it's not trying to be, but like it can be a little bit, let's say, sympathetic, not humanized, but it's like Nazis in some movies. Casablanca, I think, is one of those. Again, I don't think it's trying to do this, but it's like these people are human, and yes, they are human people. I want to make that very clear, but the depravity is not on display. Judgment at Nuremberg does not shy away from the depravity, so much so that it actually shows you legitimate footage
of concentration camp
that I think Dwight Eisenhower is actually the one that took.
Oh yeah, he was responsible for ordering that to be done. Yeah.
So like it does that, and again, like one of the things I wasn't expecting, I just wasn't expecting like this incredibly rich, powerful dialogue to happen the same way it does, and at the same time, there are sympathetic characters who did, and when I say sympathetic, like you could tell that they didn't want to be bad people, and they ultimately aren't. I wouldn't say ultimately aren't bad people, but like, you've got like the guy who doesn't, who's not going to speak, and then, does speak, and then like you have this whole scene at the very end between him and Spencer Tracy, and I forget exactly what Spencer Tracy says, but it was such a powerful line, and he kind of, to sum it up, he pretty much says, the problem is that you still chose to do this.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of what he gets at, is like, you still chose to do this. Once the first person died, once the first person was hurt,
you've crossed that line.
It should have been, you've crossed that line. And like, that is such a powerful, like, it's like 3 hours of a movie that just bam, 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 like hits every note, punches in the right spots, does not let anybody off scot-free.
No, absolutely not.
Even these more sympathetic characters.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm not talking about the victims in the movie. There are victims in the movie. But like these more sympathetic characters, it does not let them go. It's not like, oh, we were living we were doing what we had to do to survive. And
exactly.
It's like, the way you were surviving was by killing other people. Like, even if you weren't pulling the trigger, you were certainly sending them there.
And I love, like you said, it has to do with that idea that everything starts with the first act of crossing a line. You may think, well, how did it get this voluminous? Well, it starts with a simple act. You violated your own conscience once, and then you instead of repenting of it, then you kept doubling down. And maybe you tried to console yourself with the idea that you tried to stem some of the worst stuff, but you still went along, and you were a position of authority that makes you responsible. I had more expectations, I think, going into it that was going to be good. I had a feeling in my gut, so I can't say it was a big surprise for me, although I had hopes for it. For me, let's see, for a positive one, I was not expecting pretty much anything from the L-shaped room, but it gave a lot more than I anticipated. I think I gave that one, ended up, I gave it a... Did I give it only a 2 out of 3? No. That's a 3 out of 5. It's middle road because it's kind of a depressing subject matter. But the L-shaped room was one I did not expect anything going into. I had nothing going for it going into it. But when I came out of it, I was like, that was actually a pretty impressive storytelling. So, I mean, that's for me. It's not one of it didn't end up being one of my favorites of all time or even of the season. But in terms of expectation jump, that's the one that did it for me. Now, on the negative side, it's a good time to segue into the negative because I had, and this is a harder one for me, between let's see. Oh yeah. It's kind of almost a tie between Moby Dick and Jeremiah Johnson. I guess you could say because my wife had seen Moby Dick before and kind of preemptively slightly not poisoned the waters, but at least gave me an idea of what I was in for. I'll go with Jeremiah Johnson.
I'm trying to think, my letdown, I don't want to say just I could say it'd be super easy. Oh, never mind. I know what it was. A Man Called Horse. Is that one on there? It's
on there. Yeah. That's part of our list for that.
Okay.
For this
it's
most
100% A Man Called Horse. I thought that movie was going to be a lot better than it was. I did have high hopes going into it. And then as just the movie went on, I was like,
That could have been a top 5 contender for me in terms of letdowns. I mean, I was expecting something like Dances with Wolves.
Like Keeper of the Flame. We've already brought it up. It's one of those movies I thought would hit the note, but did not hit the note. It wasn't the worst movie in the world for me. But Foreign Correspondence, that movie I thought would be a lot better too.
Yeah.
And frankly, it does have a memorial scene in it, or a couple memorial scenes where you have the effects that have happened, but that was another movie. It was just kind of Well, I was going to add one movie to the list, neither good nor bad. It was just a surprise to me because I wasn't ready for it
Uh-huh.
when I sat down and watched it. And that was The Trial.
Okay.
I was not prepared for The Trial.
I don't think anyone's prepared for The Trial, really.
No,
And yeah,
not at all.
that's one of those, like, and going into it, it's like I knew nothing except that it was by Kafka. I think it was based on a Kafka story, which I knew it was going to be existentialist. But man, the style that Orson Welles, I've come to understand, thanks to you in large part, how of an oddball director he is, how offbeat he can be. And so it's like I should have probably expected more, but that would come across as like if I had known more about it, I probably would have said either let me up or let me down, one or the other. But not expecting it, yeah, that sure qualifies as that too. I can see that. But but you said something before about like we mentioned what was it? The Hitchcock film Foreign Correspondent, how it let you down. It's like, and that's a pretty good segue into what we can do the next year, which is basically we have two directors that we've seen the most films of. More Movie Bones films have been directed by these two people than any other. And they both are kind of tied at 5 right now. And that's Akira Kurosawa and Alfred Hitchcock. And if you need a list, I gave you the list, I think, so you have that in front of you too, right?
Yeah, I've got it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're not just considering like season 2 here. We're considering both seasons. We have the monumental task of picking the best. Especially this is going to be a hard one for Kurosawa for me, but we'll start with Hitchcock. That's the easier one. Let's do that. So we have the 39 Steps, Strangers on a Train, Notorious, North by Northwest, and Foreign Correspondent. What's your number 5 on that list, Ryan? The Foreign Correspondent would be my least one, I think, too. I think I don't know where it landed. I think if I were to go Foreign Correspondent, what did I give that? For my number 4, I think I'm going to go, let's see. It's either going to be North by Northwest or 39 Steps. I'm going to go 39 Steps, I think, on that one.
I'm going to agree with you on that one. 39 Steps has been done so many times, by the way. Like, have you ever noticed that? Like, there's just like so many of those movies. So yeah, I think that I'll go with that one as well.
And I just don't like the whole the uber conspiratorial type stuff. And, that goes kind of like with a lot of Hitchcock stuff. But the 39 Steps just kind of takes it to another level, and I just couldn't believe in the conspiracy in that sense. North by Northwest is my next one. The same for you or no?
I think I know where our list is both going. So yes, I agree with you.
Let's see. So we're left with Notorious and Strangers on a Train. I know what my number one fan of is. So my number 2 Hitchcock film we've seen is Notorious.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay. Are we in the same? Are we in? Is our list the same? So that leaves Strangers on a Train.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, believe it or not, was that Stranger on a Train? Is it a fun fact to say that I think Strangers on a Train might have been what really kicked this whole entire thing off? I remember us talking. I told you I was watching a bunch of old movies, and like you had brought up Strangers on a Train, so I'd sat down and watched Strangers on the Train, and we talked about it like the next week, and then like you started talking to me about like doing this podcast. And then I'm surprised we got to it all the way until the second season.
I will say this, it's got the least of his drawbacks and all the best of his best qualities. And so it's mostly just like a distilled version. It's like the vodka of Hitchcock. It's distilled from his purest spirits, if you want to put it that way. So yeah, that 39. The Strangers on a Train, that one. Now here comes the hard one. We have Akira Kurosawa. Okay, so looking at just Kurosawa's films, it looks like 3 of them we have tied 5 and 5 overall for both seasons of Movie Bones. I've only given anything less than 5 on one of them, and you have only given less than 5 on a different one, but the rest of them have been 5s. So here we go. Do you know which ones they are, by the way? It's like so it's like I'm
looking.
Okay. Let's start at number 5 then. What's your number 5? Let me see if I can guess it. Let me see if I can guess what your number 5 is. Let's see. Well, is it going to be Yojimbo?
It would either be Yojimbo or The Hidden Fortress.
Okay. All right.
And it's not that I don't like The Hidden Fortress. Of course, again, these are top 5 movies, and they're all great movies in their own way. I think I might say, believe it or not, I know it sounds crazy since I gave it a less than, but I think I might go Hidden Fortress as number 5. And that's just because, like, what those other movies are, like in the grand scheme of things,
Mm-hmm.
is a little bit more, you know, like again, like like I've been saying, like I like it when movies connect me to other things, and I think Hidden Fortress connects to other things as well. But like, it's the other three or the other four that really connect to other things in the world
Yeah.
that I really appreciate. So I think I'm gonna give Hidden Fortress
The number 5
the
slot.
number 5 slot here. Yeah.
I think for me, the number 5 is I'm gonna say Sanjuro. Just because it feels more lightweight in a way than some of the other stuff.
Yeah.
It feels a little bit more. It's not as, it doesn't have as much to say, although it does still have something very important to say. It just feels a little less weighty than some of his other work. Probably now my number 4 is probably going to be Hidden Fortress, and so see, and probably for the similar reasons that you are, it just doesn't connect to as much thematically as some of his other stuff, and it's a longer film too. It's a long film too for not having that as much. Still terrific film
Yeah.
though. What's your number 4?
Oh, I'm probably gonna agree here with and go with Sanjuro as my number 4, believe it or not. Because Yojimbo starts it off, I'm correct, right?
Yeah, Jumbo is what we started with. Yeah.
Like again, it's one of those things where it's like you don't get anything else without Yojimbo.
No. No, especially because Sanjuro is the
Yeah,
same
so
character too. It involves the same character.
yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Moving up the list to number 3. Oh, this is where it gets really hard, Justin. Oh man, it's so crazy. I could think of reasons to put any one of them on the top spot, and trying to come up with the reasons really going to drive me nuts. But this is what we're doing it for, right? So it's like, um,
Mm-hmm.
Throne of Blood. I'm going to put Throne of Blood just because it's Shakespeare, but it's definitely done. It's spooky and creepy, but it's just not my absolute favorite. I can't watch it as many times, and I'm going to use that as my arbiter. I got to come up with something, folks. So it's going to be. I just don't feel like I could watch it as many times as I could the other films. What about you, man?
Yeah. So for now, this is where I'm going to put Yojimbo, and again, like top 3, like that's I feel like you could let's make an argument out there that you could just interchange these at any given moment in your life. There's just so much you don't get without Yojimbo in this world, and I know that like a lot of Akira Kurosawa films helped inspire a lot of different things. Like I'm fairly certain, even though I didn't say it, like I think there's parts of the Hidden Fortress that actually inspired Star Wars.
Yeah.
Parts of Yojimbo inspired Star Wars. Like there's a lot of stuff that's inspired by a lot of stuff. It's just like again, you don't necessarily get it all without something like Yojimbo. So, but I'm going to put it here, and it's probably because of Shakespeare that I'm going to put it here.
Okay. You know what? And I almost have to say that it's like I'm thinking that as I'm thinking about it now, I might even change my order even a bit again, just because let's see, um, I might put oh, what was my fifth spot? It was the was it no,
It
it
was
was Sanjuro. It was Sanjuro. I might go
yeah,
hidden. I might go Hidden Fortress. You had Hidden Fortress at your bottom, and I have Sanjuro's as my bottom, right? Let me just write this
yeah,
down because I'm getting confused. And I said Throne of Blood, but I think I'm going to take that back. I'll go Yojimbo. Like you. I'm with you on Yojimbo. It's still one of my favorites. I could watch it so many times. And for the next one, I'm going to go, yeah, Throne of Blood. I'm with you. So really the only difference is going to be like at the very bottom of the list. Because we're both putting we're both putting Seven Samurai. My wife will not understand that. I think Seven Samurai is probably one of her least favorites of Kurosawa. So she's going to listen to this episode and be like, "What?" So, what are you thinking, man? And like, well, it was my estimation raised in the last couple of minutes. What can you want me to say? Pick your favorite actor of season 2.
favorite actor of season 2. Let me go through my list real quick. Favorite actor of season 2. Oh, you know what? I think I'm going to give this to Jack Lemmon.
Okay. Jack Lemmon is on my list. Yeah, he's one
Yeah,
of my
I
favorites
mean,
this year too.
you know, obviously we only have had 2 movies that we've seen him in, but like he was just so stinking good in The Apartment.
He
And I
was.
really feel like, we're about to watch or we're about to cover, The Odd Couple, and I just feel like we're about to get another home run acting out of him.
Yeah.
And again, Under the Emu Tree, while we've already said it wasn't our favorite movies for a variety of reasons, his part was good. Like he did a good job with like the material he had. There's a lot more.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll come across just more than just the Odd Couple.
Yeah. For me, I think it's going to be, let's see. I really got attached to Marlon Brando this year. I liked his
Yeah, it's
stuff a
hard not to
lot.
say that one too.
Peter Sellers was another one. Between The Lady Killers and The Pink Panther.
Yeah.
Peter Sellers, those are my top 3. I'm not going to put them in any particular order, but those are my best, like, of my favorites of this year. I think they're definitely going to be that. If Richard
Yeah,
Harris,
I mean,
if I had seen more in A Man Called Horse from Richard Harris, I would have probably put him up there too. But go ahead.
I'm definitely going to agree with Marlon Brando. We just get to, well, I feel like we've seen 3 movies with Marlon Brando. Not maybe this year, but
Yeah.
we've now watched 3 Marlon Brando movies. He's got iconic lines that are just so. Yes, you were watching Marlon Brando plays this character, and not this character played by Marlon Brando.
Right.
But it's just still really good acting. He puts a lot of heart into it. So yeah, Marlon Brando's another one. You know what? I'm gonna give a little bit because I think I've only watched 1 movie with him in it, but there's another movie out there that or maybe, but I liked Anthony Perkins.
Oh, you mean in The Trial?
I feel like eventually we'll also watch Psycho. Like at some point, Psycho's going to come around.
Yeah.
And we'll probably watch Psycho. But like and like yeah, I'm more familiar with him in Psycho. But like I thoroughly enjoyed him in The Trial, and I kind of look forward to seeing what what other other movies that will come around eventually that he'll be in.
Honorable mention in this category, I will say Maximilian Schell, who we saw in both Top Copy and, of course, Judgment at Nuremberg, which, of course, the Judgment at Nuremberg is the best, better of the two. But I do like Maximilian Schell quite a bit. He has impressed me. How about Best Actress? There aren't as many in this running here that we've seen enough of. I mean, I'm sure you could run through like a single performance in a single film, but trying to figure out like of the top ones that we've seen more than once.
We have technically seen Bette Davis.
She did impress me with The Man Who Came to Dinner. I did like her in that.
I was going to say Shirley MacLaine.
Shirley MacLaine. Oh, yeah.
That's The Apartment. Yeah.
The Apartment. Yeah.
That's The Apartment. And I've seen Shirley MacLaine in other movies. And again, it's one of those things where I kind of, look forward to when we get her back in some other movies as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I thought she was just fantastic in that movie. So she's going to be my top person there.
Yeah.
I thought Goldie Hawn, still did a good job in the movie that she was in.
I could say for, like you said, I think when you mentioned Shirley MacLaine, that's definitely, she tops the list for me too. I think, yeah, and Bette Davis for me for like The Man Who Came to Dinner in particular, for that. No, yeah, because whatever happened to Baby Jane, she did a great job, but that's like.
Yeah, she's wild in that movie.
She's just wild. But yeah, Bette Davis, and this is the year, I will say this, but this is the year Bette Davis actually made me understand Bette Davis as a star. So I get that now. So that's something I learned personally. How about, and now I don't know if we want to pick like a worst overall. I mean, John Agar. I hope we see more of him. He's my favorite bad B-movie actor right now. So
I feel like it sounds so weird to say this, but like if I had to say like my favorite bad movie actor, I mean Christopher Lee.
Yeah, he's been in his fair share. Look, I'll say this: the man's a great actor, but he has had a pretty checkered career in terms of quality. That's all I'm saying. I was like, it's not necessarily fair, but it did happen to the man. It wasn't fair. It's kind of like it's why we see Ingrid Bergman in Cactus Flower, and we kind of have to shrug our shoulders sometimes. So yeah, I get it. I totally get that. Well, I'll tell you this out there, folks. My bladder is about to burst. We've been sitting in the recording for doing this for like an hour and 20 minutes now. This is much longer than our typical episodes running, and it won't run that long for you guys because thanks to yours truly, I'm going to have to edit this down. So, but in any case, Ryan, you don't have to do that. You just have to listen to it later on if you want to. So anyway, folks, yeah, catch us for season 3. We're looking forward to it. We have a whole bunch of films we still haven't covered yet. There's so many more movies out there that we are looking forward to, and there's always more that we haven't found yet. And Tubi keeps rotating them, so that it's always like turning over the earth. You never know what you're going to find, whether it's it's a rotted corpse or a or a nugget of gold. You never know what the earth turns over. So do join us for season 3. Anything else you want to say before we run out of here?
If you haven't watched these films, go watch them. Comment on our stuff. We are on Facebook. We're on YouTube. Sure, we'll be on other platforms at some point.
Well, as they materialize, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like us, if you learned something that through this shared experience, we want to hear what you learned too, because, every journey is individual. So in any case, we'll see you next season. And Ryan, I'll see you next week and next season. All right?
See you next week
All right.
and next season.
Bye-bye, folks.